All right, shalom, shalom, giving all praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shah, Hashem, Machak, Wadaj, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect of the tabernacles of David, scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever you may be, shalom, Yahshua, shalom. All right, back in Acts chapter 18, with a little plus lesson here. That's a little small topic, but it's going to require a little bit of reading, and so that's what we plan to do. So we're going to start in Acts chapter 18. And verse 18 is the point. We'll probably read down to 22. So it says, and Paul after this tarried there yet a good while, and then took his leave of the brethren, and sailed thence into Syria. All right. It says, and with him Priscilla and Aquila, having shorn his head in Cenchrea, for he had a vow. All right. And this is what we're going to talk about. But for now, we're going to read on down. All right. Read on through. All right. What it says, he shaved his head because he had a vow. All right. But verse 19 says, and he came to Ephesus. All right. He came to Ephesus and left them there, talking about Priscilla and Aquila. But he himself entered into the synagogue and reasoned with the Jews. When they desired him to tarry longer time with them, he consented not, but bade them farewell, saying, I must by all means keep this feast that cometh in Jerusalem, but I will return again unto you, if the Most High will. And he sailed from Ephesus. And when he had landed at Caesarea and gone up and saluted the church, he went down to Antioch. All right, so being verse 18 is the point verse. All right. And it says where he having shorn his head. Let's get the word shorn real quick. Just bear with it. All right. Kiro or Cairo, meaning to shear a sheep, which is beautiful because, it talks about, the hair like wool and so on and so forth. Anyway, it says to get or let be shorn, of shearing or cutting short the hair of the head. All right. And that's what it's going into. Now, and you'll see with Esau, he'll try to depict the Israelites, having this caveman hair and stuff like that. Obviously, to try to put them with red skin with caveman hair. No, it's not true. Which, of course, Israelites' hair can be similar, like in the way it hangs, like because you have people with like curly hair, a bunch of curly hair, but it falls down. That doesn't mean this is how Paul's hair was, right? If anything, Paul might have had like a afro that was kind of packed down or whatever. Okay, because it's not like he had there were ancient picks. Well, maybe there were but I mean like today, like people just regular walking around with picks picking their hair or whatever. Pretty sure Paul wasn't doing that. All right, so Paul obviously had long hair, but not in a sense like Esau would try to display it to you. All right. Furthermore, he'll put him as an Edomite or something like that, like when they do with their Jesus. All right, he has that long hair, right? So that's how they try to portray the Israelites. Okay, but as a matter of fact, I think I had it in one of my books. I can't remember where it's supposed to be in a depiction of Paul. Obviously brown skin, because the people of the Bible are not so-called white people. All right. But yeah, it had this like a short afro and was like gray. Okay. So yeah, Paul probably had like thick woolly hair that was probably possibly a little curly or whatever the case may be, but grown for a long time. All right. Doesn't mean he had some hair hanging down, his shoulders or, down his back or whatever like that. All right. So of shearing or cutting short the hair of the head. And it says he did this in Cenchrea, for he had a vow. All right. Vow. Let me get the word vow. All right. UK. And it says a prayer to Most High, a vow. All right. Okay. I really do that straightforward, but a vow. Yukomai. All right, so I give us too much there, but it's okay because I want to make another point here. Probably grab the AMP, but I want to see what the NLT says. I'm going to grab the AMP to make this clear. So verse 18 in NLT, it says, Paul stayed in Corinth for some time after that, then said goodbye to the brothers and sisters and went to nearby Cenchrea. There he shaved his head according to Jewish custom, right? Marking the end of a vow. Then he set sail for Syria, taking Priscilla and Aquila with him. And of course, once again, it never tells us exactly what this vow is. Right? These are the same verses down here. All right. Because he asked him to spend time there. Okay, so on and so forth. All that. All right. So now if you go to the AMP, it'll actually tell you exactly what's going on here. So let's get back down to verse 18. In the AMP, Acts 18:18 says, Paul stayed for a while longer and then told the brothers and sisters goodbye and sailed for Syria. And he was accompanied by Priscilla and Aquila at Cenchrea, the southeastern port of Corinth. He had his hair cut because he was keeping a what? A Nazirite vow of abstention. All right, you get the word abstention. All right, so it says an instance of declining to vote for or against a proposal. That's not the one. All right, here's the one we want. Number 2. It says the fact or practice of restraining oneself from indulging in something. Abstinence. All right. So, and that's what pretty much goes on with the Nazirite vow. You're making the vow to do and not to do, certain things for a while. All right. I don't think we need to read anything else down here. Yeah, I don't really think we need to read it. Because, when he landed Caesarea, he went up and greeted the church at Jerusalem and then went down to Antioch. So, all right. So, we now have to understand what we're talking about here. We're dealing with the Nazirite vow, right? So, let's jump over here to, and I know it's, like I said, this lesson might, be bored to, an attention seeker. Hey, see this video. Because what it takes is, we're pretty much about to, just go into the accounts, the history, all right? So, here it is, Law of the Nazirites. All right, Numbers chapter 6, verse 1 says, And Yahweh spoke unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When either man or woman shall separate themselves, to vow a vow of a Nazirite, to separate themselves unto Yahweh. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Let me get the Strongs. Get the Strongs. Let me get back, because we'll go in the word Nazirite here real quick. All right, Nazir. What's that guy? The rapper, Nazir. All right, his name obviously goes back to the Hebrew. All right, because it is right there, Nazar. All right, Nazir, the rapper, Nazir, Nazar. What does that mean? To dedicate, consecrate, separate. To dedicate oneself, devote oneself, to keep sacredly separate, to be a Nazirite, live as a Nazirite. All right. So, yep, consecrated or devoted one, Nazirite, straightforward. Consecrated one, devotee, Nazirite, untrimmed vine. Okay, so it said they shall separate themselves to vow a vow. There's two different words for vow. Must be a root word next to one another. Nadar, to make a vow. 5087, 5088. Nadar, vow, votive offering. All right, so yeah, and that was actually another word. It's probably back to that first word, 5087. All right, it says to separate themselves into Yahweh. He shall separate himself from wine. All right, so this is one of the things that a Nazirite does not do. All right, drink wine and strong drink. Okay, basically your liquors and stuff like that. I guess you could say beers too, but you get my point. Wine, strong liquor or whatever, strong drink. And shall drink no vinegar of wine or vinegar of strong drink. Neither shall he drink any liquor of grapes. Okay, nor eat moist grapes, which is basically, fresh grapes ready to be pressed into wine, all right, ready to be, go through the process, right, still, wet and gleaming, fresh grapes. It says, or dried, which, what is a dry grape? A dry grape is a raisin. As a matter of fact, I wonder what the AMP reads. He shall abstain from wine and strong drink. He shall drink no vinegar, whether made from wine or strong drink, nor shall he drink any grape juice, nor eat fresh or dry grapes. You see? All the time of his separation he shall not eat anything produced from the grapevine, from the seeds even to the skins. All the time of the vow of his separation, no razor shall be used on his head. All right, there's another thing, all right, which is why Paul shaved his head, because that was part of the Nazirite vow, to not shave his head until the time of his separation to Yahweh is completed. He shall be holy and shall let the hair of his head grow long. All the time that he separates himself to Yahweh, he shall not go near a dead body. All right. Let's see what this reads in the NLT. So they must give up wine and other alcoholic drinks. They must not use vinegar made from wine or from other alcoholic drinks. They must not drink fresh grape juice, and they must not eat grapes or raisins. Yeah, there you go. See raisins. It said raisins right there in the NLT. All right. Not eat grapes or raisins. As long as they are bound by the Nazirite vow, they are not allowed to eat or drink anything that comes from a grapevine, not even the grape seeds or skins. They must never cut their hair throughout the time of their vow, for they are holy and set apart to Yahweh. Until the time of their vow has been fulfilled, they must let their hair grow long, and they must not go near a dead body during the entire period of their vow to the Lord Yahweh. All right, so let's go back to the KJV. It says, all the days of his separation shall he eat nothing that is made of the vine tree, from the kernels even to the husk. All the days of the vow of his separation, there shall no razor come upon his head until the days be fulfilled, in the which he separated himself unto the Lord Yahweh. He shall be holy, and shall let the locks of the hair of his head grow. All right, and it doesn't mean that he had dreadlocks. Okay, because even like if you got real curly hair, it actually look like locks, especially like you get out the shower. Or me personally, like I'll like when I wash my hair, I'll like do this circular motion to dry my hair, and a lot of times it would just naturally twist up, not by intention. But if you pull one of those pieces of hair, you can see it's like a like a coil, or kind of like a slinky looks. You can see that it's just hair that's being curled up. All right, so Israelites have that type of hair. All right, now if you let it stay like that, all right, it can lock up, all right, which is now you're going off because now you're creating these, dreadlocks or whatever. But, a lot of times, the hair will look like a lot, but really it's just a curl. It's just twisted. It's just kinky, curly hair like that, because Israelites have that type of hair. All right, but this wasn't talking about dreadlocks. All right, hair, long hair of head, locks. Okay, as disheveled. Yeah, just unkempt. All right, or maybe, not just like a wild man or whatever, but uncut, all right? Because that's, once again, that's part of the vow, man, to not cut the hair, all right, until that time when the vow was up, okay? All right, so this is going to something else. All right, but continuing on, it says, all the days that he separated himself unto Yahweh, he shall come at no dead body, all right? Now, speaking of, him, let me see if I can pull this up real quick. John chapter 11, because it speaks about dealing with Lazarus. I'll pass it. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. John 11:55 says, and the Jews' Passover was nigh at hand, and many went out of the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. Then sought they for Yahushua and spake among themselves as they stood in the temple, what think ye that he would not come to the feast? Now both the chief priests and the Pharisees had given a commandment that if any man knew where he were, he should shew it, that they might take him. I really wanted to find something else more so. Let's see if I can find this. It's up more. I believe it's in this chapter, but dealing with Lazarus. I really just wanted to make a point there. I'm trying to see the title. I guess it's at the top. Okay, yeah, this is all death and resurrection of Lazarus. So, um, Would you bear with me a second? Because they went afterwards, I believe, to see, because there was some there that saw Lazarus raised from the dead. Now, this ain't exactly a touching of the dead body, but they, were around the dead body, okay? And hopefully I find that verse I'm looking for. Okay. Verse 39 says, Yahushua said, Take ye away the stone. Martha, the sister of him that was dead, said unto him, Lord, by this time he stinketh, for he had been dead 4 days. Yahushua said unto her, Said I not unto thee, that if thou wouldest believe, thou shouldest see the glory of the Most High? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead was laid. And Yahushua lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me. And I knew that thou hearest me always. But because of the people which stand by, I said it, that they may believe that thou hast sent me. And when he thus had spoken, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And he that was dead came forth, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was bound with a napkin. Yahushua said unto them, Loose him and let him go. Right. Then many of the Jews which came to Mary and had seen the things which Yahushua did believed on him. But some of them went their ways to the Pharisees and told them what things Yahushua had done. All right. And it goes on, through this, they're trying to set him up and so on and so forth, or, agreeing to set him up. And back down to those verses we read before. And the Jews' Passover was nigh at hand. And many went out of the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. All right. Excuse me. A part reason was because of the event with Lazarus. All right. They didn't actually have to touch the dead body, but if they were there, around it to see it and so on and so forth. Okay. Let me see if I can move over here to Numbers 9. This thing is messing with me. For whatever reason, my device is in charge last night, so I'm trying to get some juice this morning. And this charge is messing with me. All right, so it says the Passover. Numbers 9:1. And Yahweh spake unto Moses in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year, after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Let the children of Israel also keep the Passover at his appointed season. In the 14th day of this month, at evening time, ye shall keep it in his appointed season, according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies thereof, shall ye keep it. All right. It says, And Moses spake unto the children of Israel that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at even in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that Yahweh commanded Moses, so did the children of Israel. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moses and before Aaron on that day. All right, so this is very key right here. And those men said unto him, We are defiled by the dead body of a man. All right. So it says, Wherefore are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering of the Lord in his appointed season among the children of Israel? And Moses said unto them, Stand still, and I will hear what Yahweh will command concerning you. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If any man of you or your posterity shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be in a journey afar off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto Yahweh. The 14th day of the second month at evening, they shall keep it and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. All right. So basically he said, no, you're going to keep it, but you just have to do it a month later because, you have no control over, the dead. All right. And so if you had to actually play a part in that ceremony in some kind of way, because it might have been, a close family member or whatever, you're defiled by the dead body that you either carried or at least was near. All right. So you have to purify yourself afterwards. All right. So, that goes to show you, part of that purifying, dealing with, the Passover and stuff like that, with certain ceremonies. All right. So this will also give sort of an insight. It doesn't say exactly. All right. As we go back, let me see. We'll go back over here. Yeah. Why they may have been, going to purify themselves, because, it clearly says here before the Passover to purify themselves, which is why we read that in the first place in Numbers chapter 9. All right. They were unclean because of reason of the dead body. All right. And obviously they didn't have the a sufficient enough time to purify themselves. So, they were worried like, whoa, hold on. We really have no control of the situation, but of course we want to keep the Passover. So the Lord, commanded that they should do it on the same day, but the month prior to the actual date. All right. As a matter of fact, let me hit the tool bag real quick. Let me see what the commentary has to say. Bears with me, this thing moving slow. Here we go. All right, it's just to get the Guzik. And pretty sure it's way down here because like verse 55 was it? So we're gonna have to scroll a little bit. Okay, 45, 49, 50. Oh, wait. That was 52. So we're somewhere in the ballpark. Okay, yeah. Actually 54. What was it? 55? Let me see. Yeah, here we go. Hold on. All right, so yeah, looking for Yahushua the Passover feast. And the Passover of the Jews was near, and many went from the country up to Jerusalem before the Passover to purify themselves. Then they saw Yahushua and spoke with those other two verses. We don't need to read it. So before the Passover to purify themselves. This means that it was the last few days before the coming Passover at which Yahushua would be betrayed, arrested, condemned, and crucified. Some purifications required a week. Others consisted only of shaving the head and washing the clothes. All right, which goes back to what? Also tying in with what we spoke about with the Nazirite vow, right? Speaking on, Paul's account, why he would have done this. Okay, Paul wouldn't just randomly shaved his head. Okay, I mean, of course, maybe he just wanted to cut his hair, but that wasn't the case though. So, and clearly we read it in the AMP where it says the Nazirite vow. Right, some purifications required a week. Others consisted only of shaving the head and washing the clothes, and that's key as well because the Passover is done for what? A whole week, or not the entire thing, the Feast of Unleavened Bread and all those things. But my point was there's like a week, a whole entire week. So if you're unclean for the whole entire week, there's no way you can jump in there at any point because the Passover is already started. Okay? The ceremony is already underway. So you'll be unclean past the point of actually keeping the ceremony, which is why we read Numbers 9, because they were commanded to keep the Passover a month later on the same dates, but on this next month to come, on this next month to come up. And yeah, that was all from there because it goes into those other two verses there. So bam, wasn't much, but hey, we still made the point, right? So from here, we can actually jump back over here to Numbers chapter 6 again. All right, and what is it, verse 6? It says, all the days that he separated himself unto Yahweh, he shall come at no dead body. All right, so we got a little bit of more understanding on that, right? It says, he shall not make himself unclean for his father. All right, there you go. Which is why those men were unclean. That going back to Numbers chapter 9. All right, and also those other individuals in John chapter 11. All right, because of Lazarus. But it says, he shall not make himself unclean for his father, or for his mother, for his brother, or for his sister when they die, because the consecration of his power is upon his head. Yeah, because he's going into what? The Nazirite vow. So it doesn't matter how bad you want to be there at their funeral, okay? If you were under that Nazirite vow, you cannot go, period. Also, dealing with the priest. They're not supposed to be dealing with the dead bodies, okay? Now, they're a specific group, but we can still mention them because it's the same for them. Because they have to constantly go into the temple and do, things in there and offer sacrifices and, so on and so forth, especially the high priest that will be in particular. It says, all the days of his separation, he is holy unto Yahweh. So it doesn't matter if there's, 8 funerals in one single year. All right. If you're keeping a Nazirite vow for, let's say 2 years, and in that 2-year span, there's been 8 funerals, you can't go to any one of them. All right. And if any man die very suddenly by him, and he had defiled the head of his consecration, then he shall shave his head in the day of his cleansing. On the 7th day shall he shave it. Let's see what it reads in other translations. If someone falls dead beside them, the hair they have dedicated will be defiled. You see, it's just that serious. It's like you're standing, near a crowd of people, like you're waiting for something, waiting in a line or whatever, and somebody, they just passes out, and they're back in the spiritual realm. You had no control over that, but guess what? Now that vow, is being unclean because the person is now dead, and you even though you had no control over it, it happened right next to you. If someone falls dead beside them, the hair they have dedicated will be defiled. They must wait for 7 days and then shave their heads. Then they will be cleansed from their defilement. You see? On the 8th day, they must bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest at the entrance of the tabernacle. Notice it says the 8th day, right? Because now we have a 7-day calendar week, right? But it says on the 8th day, okay? Showing, the way we count, well, more so Esau, but you get my point. The way we count, the days and stuff like that is a little different from ancient times. What the Egyptian, what was the calendar had, 10 days, all right? At one point of the week. On the 8th day, they must bring 2 turtle doves or 2 young pigeons to the priest at the entrance of the tabernacle. The priest will offer one of the birds for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering. In this way, he will purify them from the guilt they incurred through contact with the dead body. Yeah, because you're going to feel terrible. Like, damn, man, the vow was broken. All right. But, you had no control over the situation. Then they must reaffirm their commitment and let their hair begin to grow again. So this is how you will purify yourself to continue on with the vow. Because if the vow is broken, it's basically saying you have to start over. All right. Not saying that this is the new starting point. Say you had, let's say you had 3 more months before your vow was up. But this is what you have to do in order to continue on and keep that vow. All right. And then you would, after that, 7, 8 day, whatever the case may be. All right. Then your hair is going to start to grow again. And then that whatever 3, 4 months you got left before the vow is up, you continue on. All right. Normally. All right. And you're probably going to be more careful to the best of your ability because some things you just don't have control over. It says the days of their vow. All right. The days of their vow that were completed before their defilement no longer count. There you go. You see, they must rededicate themselves unto Yahweh as a Nazirite. The full term. So I take that back. All right. Correction. All right. It says they must rededicate themselves to Yahweh as a Nazirite for the full term of their vow. And each must bring a 1-year-old male lamb for a guilt offering. So you got to start over. All right. Correction right there. You got to start over. You see? But goes to show you how serious this thing is, man. And if you think about it, not once do you ever hear in all Paul's journeys about him dealing with any dead, all right, or dead bodies or anything like that, all right? Not that I can remember, because I might be wrong, but as far as I know, all right, up until this point, you never hear about Paul dealing with any dead or anything like that, okay? Because he understood. You also never hear about him drinking anything like that, okay? So it says the days of their vow that were completed before their defilement no longer. And that's crazy because, man, what if you were at the end of a 3-year, vow or whatever? I'm just making a random number up. And then this happened, 5 months before your vow was up and you got to start all over. But that's the seriousness of it. All right. Because it says those days that were said the days of their vow that were completed before their defilement no longer count. They must rededicate themselves to Yahweh as a Nazirite for the full term of their vow. So however long, all right, you vow, you got to start all the way over. And each must bring a 1-year-old male lamb for a guilt offering. This is the ritual law for Nazirites. At the conclusion of their time of separation as Nazirites, they must each go to the entrance of the tabernacle and offer their sacrifices to Yahweh, a 1-year-old male lamb without defect for a burnt offering, a 1-year-old female lamb without defect for a sin offering, a ram without defect for a peace offering. Which goes to show you that our people also, had to have a little substance back then to even, do the Nazirite vow, because in the case where it's broken by anyway, like what we're reading now, all right? Unless they would try to go and get one out the wild, which might be a little random, but it's possible. All right. It says a basket of bread made without yeast, right? Unleavened bread, cakes of choice flour mixed with olive oil, and wafers spread with olive oil, along with their prescribed grain offerings and liquid offerings, all right? The wine, okay? I think it reads a little different in the KJV. It says the priest will present these offerings before Yahweh, first the sin offering and the burnt offering, then the ram for a peace offering, along with the basket of bread made without yeast. The priest must also present the prescribed grain offering and liquid offering to Yahweh. Then the Nazirites will shave their heads at the entrance of the tabernacle. They will take the hair of that. Then the Nazirites will shave their heads at the entrance of the tabernacle. They will take the hair that had been dedicated and place it on the fire beneath the peace offering sacrifice. right? The previous hair, from that vow before you got the foul. Basically, the hair you shaved off their head. After the Nazirite's head has been shaved, the priest will take for each of them the boiled shoulder. And this doesn't mean like getting MJs and stuff like that. Charles Barkley's, all right, bald head. No. And it doesn't mean they were going up and getting some lineups and stuff like that, getting the edge up. Nah, because it says not to mar the corners of your hair. It's just simply talking about shaving the hair. After the Nazirite's head has been shaved, the priest will take for each of them the boiled shoulder of the ram, and he will take from the basket a cake and a wafer made without yeast. He will put them all into the Nazirite's hands. Then the priest will lift them up as a special offering before Yahweh. So he's going to put it in the Nazirite's hands, and then I guess the priest probably place his hands under the Nazirite's hands and then lift them up. All right, if you could really visualize what I'm talking about here. Because it says then the priest will lift them up. But how is he going to do that if he put it into the hands of the Nazirite? So he's obviously going to put it in their hands, and then he's going to have his hands underneath and lift it up. So presumably, all right, so it says, these are holy portions for the priests, along with the breast of the special offering and the thigh of the sacred offering that are lifted up before Yahweh. After this ceremony, the Nazirites may again drink wine. All right. It says, this is the ritual law of the Nazirites who vow to bring these offerings to Yahweh. They may also bring additional offerings if they can afford it, if they can afford it. All right. So basically, excuse me. All right. And kind of like similar like the free will offering. I forget exactly what it's called. Something that you don't necessarily have to bring, but if it's in your heart and you have it, you can bring it. All right. If that's what's on your spirit to do, you can give it as an offering. All right. They may also bring additional offerings if they can afford it, and they must be careful to do whatever they vow when they set themselves apart as Nazirites. Right. Going back to the whole entire vow, whatever you vow to do or to not to do. All right. Making sure that you're being mindful of those things. Okay. So it says, the priestly blessing. It says, then Yahweh said to Moses, tell Aaron and his sons to bless the people of Israel with this special blessing. May Yahweh bless you and protect you. May Yahweh smile at you and be gracious to you. May Yahweh show his favor and give you his peace. Excuse me. Whenever Aaron and his sons bless the people of Israel in my name, I will bless them. All right, which we didn't need that bottom portion, but hey, that's actually a good piece of prayer right there. All right, the priestly blessing. That's a good set of prayers right there. All right, so there you go. All right, reading about the Nazirite vow. All right, now we do have some that vow. Obviously, we just read about Paul, right, making the Nazirite vow. Okay, and we also can get the accounts of. Let me see if I can get back to the KJV real quick, because we had John the Baptist, we had Samson, and we also had Samuel that also mentions pretty much, which I don't think it says directly about John or Samuel, if I'm correct, but it talks about them being dedicated. We'll read it. We'll read it anyway, so we can get to the bottom of it. So basically, we gotta move on to a bigger reading portion here. So let's go to Judges, chapter 13. All right, Judges 13:1. Philistines oppress again. Look, see what it links up to? Numbers chapter 6, verse 1 through 21, which is what we just read. Beautiful. And the children of Israel did evil again in the sight of Yahweh, and the Lord Yahweh delivered them into the hand of the Philistines 40 years. All right, this is the time period of Judges. All right, Israelites were wicked. All right, eventually they're calling the Lord. He delivers them, and things go back normal. Eventually they turn wicked again, and another nation overtakes them. And it was the same process, all right? That time period of the Judges. It says, and there was a certain man of Zorah, of the family of the Danites, whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and bare not. And I'm pretty sure, Samson was the greatest thing to come out of the tribe of Dan. All right. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto the woman and said unto her, behold, now thou art barren and bearest not, but thou shalt conceive and bear a son. Now, therefore, beware, I pray thee, and drink not wine. All right, going back to number 6. All right, nor strong drink, and eat not any unclean thing. Now, this is for his mother. All right, because especially, just giving, just a birth alone, but she's not to even do these things because of the baby she's about to have. For lo, thou shalt conceive, because whatever the mother's intaking is going to be in her system now. If she gets pregnant, all right, those things are going to course through that baby system in some way or another. For lo, thou shalt conceive and bear a son, and no razor shall come on his head. All right, back to the Nazirite vow. For the child shall be a Nazirite unto the Most High from the womb. You see, before he's even born, he's going to already be under the Nazirite vow. He was separated and dedicated before he was even born to be a Nazirite. All right. So it says, and he shall begin to deliver Israel out of the hand of the Philistines. Then the woman came and told her husband, saying, a man of the Most High came unto me, and his countenance was like the countenance of an angel of the Most High. What very terrible. All right. Let's get the word terrible. All right. To fear, revere, be afraid. Yeah, because when you like the angel in Cali, man, like when they look, they look dreadful. Like the word said, they're dreadful, man. He look like he's gonna play zero games with you, and he ain't. Okay, especially if they're on a destruction mission from the Lord. Hey, you out of there, because there ain't no pleading, there ain't no talking, there ain't no hold up, there ain't no give me a minute or whatever. All right, nah, you just out of there, man. But anyways. But I asked him not whence he was, and neither told me his name, which is an important thing to point out, because sometimes the angels will tell you who they are. Other times they won't. All right, like who was it? Was that Jacob, our forefather Jacob? He wrestled an angel and asked him what is his name. What you ask my name for? You need to. Why don't you take this busted leg here? Take this joint. You don't need to know my name. All right. And there's different instances where angels, if it's necessary, they'll give their names, and when it's not necessary, they'll tell you, hey, you just tripping. You don't need to know all that. All right. But I asked him not whence he was, neither told me his name. But he said unto me, behold, thou shalt conceive. Right. He just came. I'm on a mission. Only thing you need to worry about is what I'm about to tell you. But he said unto me, behold, thou shalt conceive and bear a son. And now drink no wine nor strong drink, neither eat any unclean thing, for the child shall be a Nazarite to the Most High from the womb to the day of his death. All right. And we know all how, it ended for Samson. And if you haven't never read that account, which it's been a long time since I read it, but, I do understand, some of the still. But if you never read the account, go and read it. All right. So it says, then Manoah entreated Yahweh and said, O my Lord, let the man of the Most High, which thou didst send, come again unto us, and teach us what we shall do unto the child that shall be born. And the Most High hearkened to the voice of Manoah, and the angel of the Most High came again unto the woman, and as she sat in the field, but Manoah, her husband, was not with her. And how did the Lord hearken to the voice of Manoah? Through prayer. He prayed about it. All right. He begged the Lord. Okay. And when you go, we always go to Revelation chapter 8, right, where it talks about the prayers of the saints. All right, being collected by the angels. Right. So it says, and the woman made haste and ran and shewed her husband, and said unto him, behold, the man hath appeared unto me that came unto me the other day. And Manoah arose and went after his wife, and came to the man, and said unto him, art thou the man that spakest unto the woman? And he said, I am. And Manoah said, now let thy words come to pass. How shall we order the child, and how shall we do unto him? All right. And the angel of Yahweh said unto Manoah, of all that I said unto the woman, let her beware. Meaning everything I told that woman, because your wife, she went back and told you. So now I'm telling you firsthand. All right. Everything that I told her, make sure you follow. All right. Beware. She may not eat of anything that cometh of the vine, neither let her drink. Meaning you can't. It's saying right here, drink wine or strong drink. No wine, no liquor, no eating grapes, because grapes come from like the blood of the wine, right? Blood of the grapes, right? So none of that either. All right, because it's all going back to the Nazirite vow. Because see, the key thing behind it says that the child would be, dedicated, all right, from his birth. So that means when this baby is being conceived, all right, you can't do any of these things, because that would defile the whole Nazirite vow. Even though the Nazirite vow is dealing with the child, as the mother, you have to bring forth this baby in your womb. So if you defile your body, you're defiling the baby, because the baby is living off of your body before it's born. All right, while it's still in your womb. So these things are key for you to follow, and then when a child comes, all right, it's going to be all on him. All right. So it says, all that I command, let her observe. And Manoah said unto the angel of Yahweh, I pray thee, let us detain thee until we shall have made ready a kid for thee, which is a baby goat. Yeah, kid is a baby goat. Yeah, a young male goat. There you go. Pretty sure it's the same thing right there. Female goat, she goat, kid. All right. So yep, a baby goat. All right. So it says, and the angel of Yahweh said unto Manoah, though thou detain me, I will not eat of thy excuse me. I will not eat of thy bread. It says, and if thou wilt offer a burnt offering, thou must offer it unto Yahweh, for Manoah knew not that he was an angel of Yahweh. All right. So he was thinking, it was a random man just came with a message, right? This was actually an angel. And Manoah said unto the angel of Yahweh, what is thy name? That when thy sayings come to pass, we may do thee honor. All right. And the angel of Yahweh said unto him, why askest thou thus after my name, seeing it is secret? Now he didn't say this to his wife before. All right. But this time, it says, look, you ask me for my name, it's a secret. All right. It's not to be known. All right, let's pull up secret. Wonderful, incomprehensible, extraordinary. Wow. Didn't think to see that. But that's probably another word. Let's get this first one. It's the same thing. All right. It's the same thing. Okay. Whoa, wait a minute. Hold up. See, this is a secret, right? My name. All right. This is what we just mentioned, though. All right. When it's necessary, the angels will tell you their names. That's how we know about Ma'ika Allah. All right. Or was Awaria Allah. All right. Uriel. We have also what Gabriel, Gabaria Allah. And there's another one, Raphael, Raphael Allah. I always forget how to say Raphael, right? We know those four because those four are mentioned for a specific reason, all right? And I believe Gabriel linked up with the prayers of the saints, if I'm correct, all right? Not very important, but you get the point, all right? I mean, we even accounts with Tobit, all right? You got angels there. Angels are all over, man. I always talk about men coming in white garments, sometimes coming in pairs, okay, with these white garments, okay? Or sometimes coming alone, like with John the Revelator. Okay, John says he was about to worship at his feet, and the angel said, no, don't worship me, all right? I'm just a messenger. I'm just here to give you, the news right here, okay? So that's beautiful, man, because the name means, he says that my name is a secret. It's wonderful, incomprehensible, extraordinary. Let's get the word incomprehensible real quick. Just go, just for a second. I didn't expect to see that, okay? I think the word there was pala'ah, or pala'ah. Not able to be understood, not intelligible. Wow. A language that is incomprehensible to anyone outside the office. So, man, so there's angels' names who we wouldn't even be able to say their names. That's crazy, man. That's crazy. So going on back, all right. That's man, because you have to think about it. The Hebrew names have meaning, man. They have meaning. And that's why we mentioned Michael, Gabriel, Uriel, and Raphael. All their names have meaning. So some of these angels who also their names have meaning probably have just, man, some things that will probably just blow our minds, man. We probably give up the ghost. Probably just trying to understand their names, man. Like, wow, that's terrifying. All right, so let me see here. Okay, yep, verse 18. We just read verse 18. Yeah, he says my name is a secret. Hey, Thawadi, how about my shot for that one? It says, so Manoah took a kid, which once again, just to sum it up, goes to show you that you don't need to know the angel's name, but if it's necessary, they will tell you what their name is, all right? Which is why we have a few names, because they were told. So Manoah took a kid with the meat offering and offered it upon a rock unto Yahweh. And the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on, all right? What does it mean when it says wondrously? Let me see what verse was it? I usually look. We were down at like 18 somewhere. Okay, so we want to honor you. Why do you ask my name? The angel said, yeah, it is wonderful. It is too wonderful for you to understand. Then Manoah took a young goat and a grain offering and offered it on a rock as a sacrifice to Yahweh. And as Manoah and his wife watched, Yahweh did an amazing thing. Right? So notice it says the Lord did an amazing thing. But he did it, through the angel, all right? Because you don't get that in the KJV, okay? But we understand everything goes back to the Lord, man. Nothing happens without the Lord. As the flames from the altar shot up toward the sky, the angel of Yahweh ascended in the fire. When Manoah and his wife saw this, they fell with their faces to the ground. Imagine seeing that, man. able to see something like that. So it says, and the angel did wondrously, and Manoah and his wife looked on. For it came to pass when the flame went up toward heaven from off the altar that the angel of Yahweh ascended in the flame of the altar, and Manoah and his wife looked on it and fell on their faces to the ground. Because then they understood that this was an angel that we were talking to, right? Not some random man. But the angel of Yahweh did no more appear to Manoah and to his wife. Then Manoah knew that he was an angel of Yahweh. Yeah, and at that point, it was already understood, right? Well, what I told y'all, to follow it, all right? Beware. He told them beware. So there was no need for me to come to you and remind you again, all right? I already told you once. I actually told you twice, actually. It says, and Manoah said unto his wife, we shall surely die because we have seen the Most High. All right? Then did they really see the Most High power? No. It's talking about an angel, all right? Just alone, they were having a thought like, man, we saw an angel of the Lord, all right? Or we saw the Most High through the angel of the Lord, okay? I mean, we shall surely die, because we know the scriptures say that no man can look on the Lord and live, all right? And so even just an angel alone, they were thinking, man, we're done for, because we saw an angel of the Lord. We saw the Lord, all right? But it's by the angel. But it says, but his wife said unto him, if Yahweh were pleased to kill us, he would not have received a burnt offering and a meat offering at our hands. Right, exactly right. You see? It says, neither would he have showed us all these things, nor would at this time have told us such things as these. Of course, because why would I kill you if I told you to dedicate this child? Okay, that wouldn't make sense. All right. And the woman bare a son and called his name Samson. And the child grew, and Yahweh blessed him. And the spirit of Yahweh began to move him at times in the camp of Dan between Zorah and Eshtaol. All right, and it gets on to his account. All right, Shamshuan. All right, like the son, beautiful. A Danite, a son of Manoah, a Nazirite for life, and a judge of Israel for 20 years. All right, yeah, and he was a Nazirite for life, because at the end of that, all right, well, I'm not going to tell you. All right, if you haven't read the account, you can go read the account for yourself. Let's see what Shamash is. Okay, son, Shamash, son. Shamash, son. All right, beautiful. So there ends the account, or not the whole account, but what we want to dealing with, the Nazirite vow of Samson. Okay, I guess we'll go over here to 1 Samuel, chapter 1. All right, Elkanah and his wives plural. Okay, Elkanah and his wives. All right, it says, now there was a certain man of Ramathaim Zophim of Mount Ephraim, and his name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, the son of Elihu, the son of Tohu, the son of Zuph, an Ephrathite. All right, an Ephrathite, and he had two wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. And this man went up out of his city yearly to worship and to sacrifice unto Yahweh of hosts in Shiloh. And the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, the priest of Yahweh, were there. And when the time was that Elkanah offered, he gave to Peninnah, his wife, and to all her sons and her daughters portions. But unto Hannah he gave a worthy portion, for he loved Hannah, but Yahweh has shut up her womb. That sounds similar, right? When you go into the accounts of our forefathers, man. Okay. So it says, and her adversary also provoked her sore, for to make her fret, because Yahweh has shut up her womb. And as she did so year by year, when she went up to the house of, and I just thought about it, says her adversary, right? Okay. Women competed to have children. Nowadays, you got women who either want children, you trap a man, or they trap the man in the system, one of the two, or you got women who don't want to have no children. I don't want to be wives and mothers anymore. I want to follow my career. Okay. And all this nonsense like that. Right. Anyways, I'm just making a point that back then our women understood the shame of not being married, and furthermore, having children as well. And as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of Yahweh, she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat. Then said Elkanah, her husband, to her, Hannah, why weepest thou, and why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am not I better to thee than 10 sons? So Hannah rose up after Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and goes to show you that he didn't have the full understanding of why it hurt her so much. Once again, so what we just mentioned, women understood being wives and mothers. Okay, and he was given, as I said up above, worthy portions, right? Because he knew she couldn't bear children, and he really loved her. All right, so he was making sure he was doing her very well and taking good care of her. All right, because he loved her, and she knew that she couldn't bear him children. All right, so Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh, and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by a post of the temple of Yahweh, and she was a bitterness of soul, and prayed unto Yahweh and wept sore. And she vowed a vow and said, O Yahweh of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto Yahweh all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. All right, is that not the same thing that was said for Samson? Now, I don't know exactly if Samson was under the Nazirite vow, but this is why we're reading it, so we can we can get more information on it, right? But there's one key thing: there shall no razor come upon his head. Now, it could have just been a saying, but it couldn't have been because of the Nazirite vow. But let's keep reading. It says, and it came to pass as she continued praying before Yahweh that Eli marked her mouth. Now, Hannah, she spake, and let's get the word mark here, because it'll mean different things in different scriptures. Shamar is the word to keep, to guard, observe, give heed, right? In other words, right, he heard it, right, and it was like, okay, I heard you say that now, okay? It says, now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, all right? So actually, he really didn't hear anything. Take it, really put it in perspective. All right, because we're reading it now. It says, and it came to pass as she continued praying before Yahweh that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken. All right, so he thought, like, what she off that wine. Okay, so it says, because she's praying, but he doesn't know that she's praying because no words are coming out. Right, she's praying, like I said, in her heart. All right, in her mind, her soul is crying out. Says, and Eli said unto her, how long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy wine from thee. And Hannah answered and said, no, my lord, I am a woman of sorrowful spirit. You see, I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before Yahweh. You see, count not thine handmaid for a daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief have I spoken hitherto. Then Eli answered and said, go in peace, and the power of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And she said, let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat, and her countenance was no more sad. And it goes on to talk about Samuel being born. All right, and they rose up in the morning early and worshiped before Yahweh, and returned and came to their house to Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and Yahweh remembered her. All right, so knew would mean what? All right, they had sex, right? And remember, it was Hannah that couldn't, bear children. So this is what we talked about. It says, wherefore it came to pass when the time was come about after Hannah was come about after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son. All right, the time that it takes for everything to set in and the woman to actually fall pregnant, right? It called his name. It says, and had conceived that she bare a son. All right, so the whole time, and it says, and called his name Samuel, saying, because I have asked of him of Yahweh. Let's get the name Samuel. Shamawa'al, if I said that right. Shamwa'al. His name is El, son of Elkanah, by his wife Hannah, and judge or prophet of Israel during the days of Saul and David. All right, so that's pretty much all we're going to get from there. I actually could have went back to move my button, because that's Shemai, which means to hear, listen, obey. Shemai, Allah, the Lord has heard, but it's not exactly Shemai, it's Shamwa Allah. All right, but you get the point there. All right, so it says, verse 21 says, and the man Elkanah and all his house went up to offer unto Yahweh the yearly sacrifice and his vow. But Hannah went not up, for she said unto her husband, I will not go up until the child be weaned, and then I will bring him. that he may appear before Yahweh and there abide forever. And Elkanah her husband said unto her, do what seemeth thee good. Tarry until thou have weaned him. Only Yahweh established his word. So the woman abode and gave her son suck until she weaned him. And when she had weaned him, she took him up with her with 3 bullocks and 1 ephah of flour and a bottle of wine, and brought him to the house of Yahweh in Shiloh. And the child was young. And they slew a bullock and brought the child to Eli. And she said, O my Lord, as thy soul liveth, my Lord, I am the woman that stood by thee here praying unto Yahweh. For this child I prayed, and Yahweh hath given me my petition, which I asked of him. Therefore also I have lent him to Yahweh. As long as he liveth, he shall be lent to Yahweh, and he worshiped the Lord there. You see, there's another key thing, that he may have been under the Nazirite vow. We can't say for sure, all right? It says he shall be lent to the Lord all the days of his life. And then up above, I can't remember what verse it was. See if I can find it. Oh, yeah, here it is. No razor shall come upon his head. So those are 2 key things dealing with the Nazirite vow. Now, we don't know exactly. It doesn't say exactly that he was under the Nazirite vow, but there's 2 key things in this chapter that points towards it. But we still can't say for sure. But that was dealing with Samuel, okay? So let's just go and move on to what we want. Here it is. Luke chapter 1, which we read some of this. We're definitely not going to read this whole chapter because this is a very long chapter. We're just going to hit those points right here. As a matter of fact, beginning at verse 5, birth of John the Baptist foretold, says, there was in the days of Herod, the king of Judea, a certain priest named Zacharias of the course of Abia, and his wife was of the daughters of Aaron, and her name, was Elizabeth. It says, and they were both righteous before the Most High, walking in all the commandments and ordinances of Yahweh, of the Lord, blameless. And they had no child because that Elizabeth was barren, right? You see the same thing going on here. And they both were now well stricken in years, meaning they were old, all right, very elderly. And it came to pass that while he executed the priest's office before the Most High in the order of his course, according to the custom of the priest's office, his lot was to burn incense when he went into the temple of the Lord. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense. And there appeared unto him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar of incense. Here we have another interaction with the angel, right? And when Zacharias saw him, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said unto him, fear not, Zacharias, for thy prayer is heard, and thy wife Elizabeth shall bear thee a son, and thou shalt call his name John. All right, and thou shalt have joy and gladness, and many shall rejoice at his birth. For he shall be great in the sight of the Lord, and shall drink neither wine nor strong drink. Same thing dealing with the Nazirite vow, right? And he shall be filled with the Holy Spirit even from his mother's womb, just like with Samuel, just like with Samson, right? It's the same thing. It says, and many of the children of Israel shall he turn to the Lord their power. All right, going to Matthew 3, right? When he was, doing what he was doing in the wilderness, all right? So it says, and he shall go before him in the spirit and power of Elias, which is Elijah, because he was Elijah reincarnated, to turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the disobedient to the wisdom of the just, to make ready a people prepared for the Lord. And Zechariah said unto the angel, whereby shall I know this? For I am an old man, and my wife well stricken in years. And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel, that stand in the presence of the power, and am sent to speak unto thee, and to show thee these glad tidings. All right. And there's not much there we get. We could probably mention Matthew chapter 3. Man, I forget exactly where it is, but I know it does mention where. Actually, I think it said about Yahushua, where he says he come neither eating nor drinking. He says he has the devil. I believe they said that about Yahushua. It was either Yahushua or John the Baptist. But then also there's another account where Yahushua says, what would you have to see? Okay. John, looking like John, all right? Not looking like these high priests and looking all fancy garments and stuff like that, right? Looking normal, looking regular. But these are just 2 other accounts, man. Other than with Samson, it's clear that he was a Nazirite. Samuel had 2 key things in there that point to the Nazirite vow. the dedication of all his life, and that he wouldn't have no razor come upon his head. I don't think anything was mentioned about the wine, but I don't think he dealt with it. And then you have John, what we just read with John, right? Same thing here with all three of these men. And also, we just read from Acts chapter 18 dealing with what Paul, man. Paul shaved his head because of a vow. And we clearly read in the NLT was because of the Nazirite vow. So we have at least two men that we just read about who did the Nazirite vow, and then two other men who possibly were also under the Nazirite vow. All right. And these were all Israelite men. All right. So that's pretty much all I have for you. I'm pretty sure we might have been able to grab more scriptures, but straightforward. And we we did a good, there was an hour there just talking about these things because we read chapters, right? All right, going into the history to dig up what we wanted to dig up. So Lord will that this was edifying. All right, and we're gonna close back with all praise, honor, glory to our power, Yahweh Shalom. Shalom.